I'm adopted. I never realized what those words meant until today during the football game. I was chasing the ball up the field when I looked and saw Michael's and Sanjay's parents, who were sitting next to my parents and cheering for their sons. When I looked over at Michael, I realized that his white parents were cheering for him. When I looked over at Sanjay, I realized that his brown parents were cheering for him. And then I looked at my white parents who were cheering for me, a brown boy from the Philippines, and in that moment, I felt like something wasn't right. Then someone's father shouted, "Hey, someone tell the brown kid to move. He has to get the dang ball." At that moment, I felt completely flushed. I was so embarrassed. I looked around and felt like I was some weird alien in a predominantly white area in Massachusetts. And everyone was looking at me like that was exactly what they were thinking as well. I had to get out of there, so I ran off the field. "Dude, what the heck is up with you?" Michael walked up to me in the locker room. "Why did you run off?" I didn't even look at him. I just grabbed my stuff and walked out of the locker room. He didn't understand. No one understands. Not only is the school's population 90% white, no one else here is adopted. I felt like the entire weight of my existence was crashing down on me. And then I saw my parents walk up. My mother kissed me on the forehead as she always does, and then put her hand on my shoulder and asked me, "Honey, are you okay?" "I'm fine," I mumbled and brushed her hand off my shoulder. Then I walked towards the car. A part of me knows that they love me, but right now, I can't help but feel so angry with them. I just can't believe that they did this to me. I got in the car, closed the door, and just looked at the ground. My parents walked towards the car slowly, looking worried, but I didn't say a single word to them for the rest of the evening. A few weeks passed by, and I still feel the same. I barely speak to my parents, just one-word answers. I just wanted them to disappear from my life. One day, I was in a free period with Jin Young, whose family is Chinese, and Maria, who's also from the Philippines, and they were talking about their family, which piqued my interest. Jin Young talked about how her grandparents came all the way from China to visit her and her family for Chinese New Year's. She spoke about how important family was to them, that on Chinese New Year's, they would spend that day honoring their ancestors and spending time together. Maria then spoke about her family and how their family and extended family all come together for Christmas. She said that Christmas in the Philippines already starts on September the 1st. She spoke about how her family members and friends all come together to sing Christmas carols and decorate their houses. She was so proud of their traditions of staying up all night into Christmas Day, and then after Christmas Mass, the whole family feasts together at her grandparents' for a midnight feast called Noche Buena. After that, I found myself drifting away and being totally lost in my own thoughts, thinking about how I probably would have celebrated with my birth family that way as well. I wondered if they celebrated that way without me. I felt so sad thinking about them and then thinking about my parents now. Our Christmas was just us sitting around the table, eating dinner. I couldn't wrap my head around how it would be to have such a big family and to be so close to them. What it must feel like. Why am I even here? I felt tears welling up in my eyes, but at the same time was so angry at everything. My birth parents, my adoptive parents, myself, Jin Young, Maria. I was angry at them all. I arrived home later that evening, and just as I was about to run upstairs like normal, my dad stopped me. "Son, we need to talk. Come into the living room and sit down." So I walked in and sat down. I thought if they were going to complain, I would just nod and then leave when they're done. My dad continued, "We've noticed that you've been very strange lately, and we just want to find out what's going on. Why don't you talk to us? We're your parents, and we love you." After my dad said that, I just couldn't help but burst. "But you're not, are you? You're just people who took me from my real family and brought me to this white town that's just filled with white people who are so different from me and don't understand me. I screamed, and my parents were completely taken aback. "Okay, honey, calm down," my mom said. "We are your real family because we love you." Before she could continue, I interrupted her. "How could you love me? I'm totally different than you. I'm not like you. My culture and my skin and everything is different than you." After I said that, I crossed my arms and looked away. It was silent in the room for what felt like an eternity. Then my mother said, "Andrew, your family in the Philippines loved you very much, but they couldn't take care of you. You weren't theirs. So they gave you to us because we were looking for our son, and when we met you, we knew instantly that you were meant to be ours. Just because we didn't create you, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we both love you because you are our son." I sat there listening to her, and though what she said really touched my heart, it made me more confused than ever, so I just got up and went upstairs. After that day, things changed. I really wasn't being a very good son to them. I was always either yelling at them or talking back to them or just avoiding as much interaction with them as possible. Wherever we went, I would always keep my distance from them. I would just walk a few paces behind them, so if anyone looked at us, it could seem like I wasn't with them. I thought if I keep acting this way, they would just give up and get rid of me. I knew I didn't want that, but I wanted to be right, so I just kept acting this way. I'm now 22 years old, and slowly I'm realizing why I felt and acted the way that I did. Being adopted means you're raised in a family that is different from you, and that could lead to feeling like you don't belong. I spent my teenage years blaming my parents for those feelings, but I know now that it really wasn't their fault. It's just something most adoptive kids will go through. Knowing that you're different from the people who are caring for you is not an easy feeling to get over. But I realize now that my parents really love me, and even though I don't say it enough, I really love them too. As an adopted kid, I would tell others that no matter what family you're put into, they do love you and support you unconditionally. You're not just given to a family that wants a kid, but a family that can offer you a life that you would have never been able to live. For me, I was born in Manila and would have had to work to support my birth family or live a very different kind of life. But instead, I was given the opportunity to do more than I could have ever done. I was given the chance to go through grades K through 12, then enter a good university, and will graduate in the winter of 2019. I do feel bad about how I acted in the past to my parents, but now want to be able to show them that adopting me didn't just mean having a child, but I hope to show them that the way they are my parents is what brought me to where I am today, and that I will make them proud that they can call me their son.